Representative Brad Sherman is a Democrat from California, and he apparently has a low IQ. I say that jokingly, but not really, because it appears like he has a low IQ. Here's how I came to that conclusion. He went to a meeting with the White House to discuss North Korea and what policy we should be taking in regards to them, and a bunch of representatives went. And listen to what he tweeted after about what he asked Trump and Pence in the meeting. I raised two issues. North Korea could smuggle nuke into U.S. rather than use ICBM. Could smuggle inside bale of marijuana. And might sell nukes to Iran, which has billions of hard currency. Waiting for answers. What the fuck are you saying, man? Come on, dude. Come on. These are your representatives, man. This is what they're fucking thinking about. They were asked, oh, yeah, come to this White House meeting about North Korea. And these jackass are like, oh, I better think of a real serious question to ask them, because, man, I'm concerned about this. This is what he came up with. Where do we begin with this? Okay. North Korea is not a threat to the United States of America. They can huff and they can puff and they can talk out of their ass. They're not. They're a hermit kingdom. They're incredibly poor. They don't have high technological ability. I'm sure you've seen the pictures of the map at night with, South Korea all lit up. North Korea is totally dark. Here's who they're a threat to. South Korea. They're a threat to Seoul. If there was some sort of offensive attack waged by the U.S. Against North Korea, they would launch on Seoul immediately. So that's who they're a threat to. Now, furthermore, smuggle a nuke into the U.S.? Well, first things first, they're not going to, as horrible as they are and as crazy as they are, and we've covered that in detail, they're not going to attack anybody if we don't attack them. And that's not to say they're good people, because we see how they treat their people. It's basically a hostage crisis, and the people are just so viciously oppressed in every imaginable way. And I have nothing but sympathy for those people. But there's no good answer as to what to do about it. Because if you try to do anything to get those guys out of power, they launch on South Korea, and it's a fucking nightmare. And you're in a war. So, but the bottom line is, unless you launch on them, they're not going to launch on anybody. So this idea of like they're going to sneak a nuke into the U.S. and they're going to do it in a bale of marijuana. What? What? How stupid of a thing would that be to smuggle it in? Because that would be found immediately and they'd be busted. Like, if you smuggle it in, you got to smuggle it in a good that's not going to get extra eyes. So, like, you put it with a bunch of shirts that are on their way to fucking Macy's or some shit. I don't even know if Macy's is still in business. There's nobody would give it an extra look. If a bale of marijuana comes into the U.S., people, seize that. Like, what the oh, God, I can't. Where are they getting their marijuana from, huh? Is North Korea a chief exporter of marijuana? What are they going to do? They're going to make a deal with Mexico to buy marijuana from Mexico and then put it in the marijuana and then ship it to the U.S. And how do they ship it to the U.S.? What port are they going out of? And what? I can't, man. And then he says they might sell nukes to Iran. Again, this is like so incredibly made up that I don't... Like, are there even diplomatic talks between Iran and North Korea? I don't think so. I think the only people North Korea talks to is China. So what... They're going to talk to... So they're going to develop a relationship with Iran, and then they're going to give them a nuke, and then what? What's the implication? And then Iran is going to use the nuke immediately. What the fuck are you talking about? This is nothing but fear-mongering garbage. Guys, he's an idiot. Brad Sherman's a moron. I feel kind of bad for the guy just talking about him, because this is like... I mean, this is sad. Like, who says this shit? So anyway, Brad Sherman, do yourself a favor and just retire, because if this is the extent of your intellectual abilities, that's not a good sign, dude.